So welcome back to the next in our lesson of fingerstyle tutorials using Rock Riffs only, and today we're going to be learning the fabulous Hand in Glove. The riff was written by one of my favourite guitarists, Johnny Marr, and in this lesson then we're going to be really taking the campanella technique to extremes. Really exploiting the potential of the ukulele and the high G tuning so that we can make some lovely harp-like sounds with our ukulele. So let's get up close and I'm going to show you how to do it. Right, so it's a lovely flowing riff, sounds fantastic on electric guitar. Now the ukulele doesn't sound anything like the electric guitar, and that's really not important for us. The ukulele has its own merits and its own particular sounds that sound absolutely beautiful to me. So we're going to play it the campanella way. Now, as you've seen in other videos of mine, campanella means using all of the strings to maximum effect to create kind of harpy sounds, so that if we can avoid playing two notes consecutively on the same string, it's always better. So instead of playing, so for example, let's say I can play A, B, C here on the same string, A, B, C. To make it campanella, I would play A on the open string, B on the 7th fret of the second string, and C on the 5th fret. So it sounds like this. So now I can hear all the strings ringing at the same time. Like that. And that sounds much prettier than just stopping the sounds when we sing. That's really the campanella technique. The high G tuning on the ukulele then, some people would say, well yeah, it's counterintuitive because we have this high G here. And a lot of people say that because there's a high G, the ukulele is only good for strumming. It's not really good for playing melodies. I don't agree with that at all. If you really want to get the most out of your high G, then you should be using it for playing melodies, as well as strumming as well, which sounds cool. The ukulele, in fact, is essentially a Renaissance guitar, has exactly the same tuning. And ancient instruments like the Baroque guitar and the Renaissance guitar had a high string somewhere on them. Okay, and they were used a lot for strumming and singing accompanying songs, but they could also be used for playing melodies. So the counterintuitive side then is going to be difficult for us with Hand in Glove, because we normally, when we're playing fingerstyle arrangements, we're used to leading off with our thumb and then playing higher notes. Okay, but in Hand in Glove then we're going to start with the lowest note, which is C, the open third string, and the next note is going to be the G on the 4th string. Okay, so let's get started with the riff. So it sounds like this. Put your third finger already ready to play on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, ready to play. And now we're going to pluck the note C open with our index finger, the note G down with our thumb, the note D on the 10th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, so plucking up with whatever finger you want, doesn't really matter, and then the high A. Okay, so now we have all 4 strings ringing at the same time. And because the lowest note C there tends to ring the longest, you're going to hear it all the way through the first part of the riff. You hear that? After that we go back to the G and move my third finger down to the 6th fret of the 2nd string, back up to the A, and back to the G. Okay, so like this. So that's C, G, D, A, G, B flat, A, G. And even when we get to the end of that part, you can still hear this note, this low C ringing. All ringing at the same time. Sounds really pretty. after that, we're going to put my second finger on the note D on the 5th fret of the 1st string, back to B flat, back to A and G. Okay, so second finger on, and finish with the note F down here. You could do it if you wanted to. You could do it there as well, but I just tend to go back down here because it rings a bit longer. Okay, so the second part of the riff then repeats the first part to there, and it finishes by sliding from, so I'm using the same finger, sliding from G to A, so 3rd fret on the 2nd string, G to A, 2nd finger on the note D, which is 5th fret of the 4th, back to the A, and back to the F. And in fact, with the second A then is open, so I can play the 2 notes A. Okay, which is another advantage of most stringed instruments is you can play the same note in different places. And with the campanella technique, then we can use we can have the same note ringing in different places, so it sounds even prettier. Slide to A, D, A, open. So you can hear the 2 A's ringing. And finish with that F. And that's why a lot of people don't like playing campanella. They say it's counterintuitive, it's too difficult. We're going in all different directions. You know, there's a note C here where I could play the C here. There's an A here where I could play an A here. You know, it's all over the place, and that's kind of true. But I think it's worth the effort. And perhaps it's just a question of changing your way of thinking about it. So, you know, rather than thinking in terms of, well, you know, when we play higher notes we go that way, and when we play lower notes we go that way, well, that's just not true for campanella picking. The way I think about it is I play as the way that I would play fingerstyle. I learn not so much the patterns, but I learn to play the actual melody, and it doesn't really matter which string I play it on. I'm just going to learn to play it. So just do it until it becomes a reflex. That's nice and easy. Okay, so really it's a question of developing that muscle memory until you can do it without thinking about it, until it becomes just like a kind of reflex, an automatic response. That's it, and it sounds great. I think it sounds wonderful. And I'm going to show you the verse as well, because it's not too difficult. So basically he's going to play D minor to B flat to G minor, but I'm only playing D and G. Okay, so just the root and the 5th, where the 5th is in the bass. Back to B flat and to F, and the second time round, D minor, F, G minor, and then 2 S. Like that. Okay, now I'm going to pluck. So the arpeggio, D, F, A, to a complete B flat. So plucking with all of my fingers. Dropping the little finger on the note C here to my G5. Fill in. So. and strum for the F. Oops. And back into the riff. So that's a good way of getting your right hand working hard. Here we're starting with our campanella, and then we're going into more traditional picking, plucking the whole chord, using our little fingers, filling in. And a little strum as well. Back to the finger picking, whole chords, and strum back into the riff. And that's all there is for you today. It shouldn't take you too long to learn, but really spend some time practicing it until it becomes automatic. They get that muscle memory working. That's my advice for you today. Okay, and think about which fingers you're going to pluck with. I don't pay too much attention, to be honest with you. As long as I'm going, up with the index, down with the thumb, up with the ring and middle. That's okay. Tabs will be on screen for those of you who are subscribed to Patreon, so thank you very much for your support. It's always appreciated. If you're not subscribed to Patreon, well, the tutorials are always going to be free here on YouTube, so please don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications bell if you want to keep up with all the latest things that are coming on. So please do that. I appreciate your support. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.